Well, there you have it. There's our Creative Cat contest. I made that PSA probably about 2 weeks before we actually started the contest, even though there's no clear start to the contest. But there is a clear end. It is March 31st, 2014, the end of next month, and the top prize is $364.00.
That's a lot of money.
Yep,
like
and there's
food.
other consolation prizes. You got sponsors like Animals is sponsoring us. There's the Pet Clinic. You got the Green Light, which is the 401 store also. There are also all donated stuff for us to give away as prizes.
Nice.
And I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah,
that's
that'll be
going on.
great. That's a good opportunity for people. Can we do it? Can I do it? Can I send something in?
Isn't that how it works? Can we do it? Can I show some people up?
Cat?
I don't know. I'm not going to do it because I'm staff, and I just feel like it's an unfair advantage.
Yeah, I guess you're right, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so the coordinator is Sam Tolman, and if you want to submit your creative cat video, just send it to contest@mcat.org.
Awesome.
Yes, and it's super snowy outside right now.
Yeah.
And just some discretion about the cat video. Well, I just gotta say, like, I've seen some of the videos that they submitted, and it's basically just been, oh, here's just a cat just sitting around.
Yeah.
So
it can be any. It
can be anything.
It's a broad horizon. You can be anything creatively as long as there's a cat involved.
yeah, you could. I mean, the cat necessarily doesn't even have to be involved. A cat could actually be in the background, kind of like Superman in Seinfeld. Just can be in a random place, and you just have to spot the cat. You can do like a spot the cat, I spy or something.
That's
there. I'm giving some creative outlet for people to use.
What's the time limit on it?
The end of it is March 31st.
But how long are the videos? How long?
No longer than 2 minutes.
Okay.
So those are the rules. No longer than 2 minutes. End is the 31st.
How many submissions are?
We've had a couple submissions so far.
Cool.
We're getting there.
Good.
Now we're just trying to gear it out and get more promotion in it. But for right now, I would like to change gears and talk about what's happening tonight. All right, hit camera 4 for me. So here you see the We Missoula benefit concert shot last January at the Roxy Theater, and it's going to air 7 p.m. tonight on Channel 7, and it was a benefit for the International Wildlife Film Festival. And for our next video, we have that's not it.
Technical difficulties, everyone. We apologize.
And now?
So I decided to write not my first book, but the first book I would be willing to hold up and say, this is a good book.
Okay, so here we have one of the authors in Festival of the Book. Festival of the Book, this one is entitled Babes in the Woods, Nature Writing Memoir. It's a panel. They always have a bunch of panels. Festival of the Book takes place every October, and this year it takes place on October 9th through the 11th. It's usually a weekend. Last year there was over 80 authors came and visited Missoula and talked and did workshops, and hopefully be inspired by our little big city, Missoula. Yep.
Awesome.
Oh, can we come back to us for a second? Okay, so more about that. We usually get a lot of programming from Festival of the Books. That's actually a new episode from just last year because Josh, myself, Sam, Ron, we all got involved with this.
Nice. That sounds like it was a lot of fun.
And now we're gonna, and that premieres at 6 p.m. Friday, February 28th. And now we have our next video.
So this is the centennial of women's suffrage for the state of Montana. Not for Native American women, but for everyone else. And there are an incredible number of really cool things going on, particularly in Helena and here in Missoula, to commemorate the centennial.
And this is the YWCA, which follows up a community social justice series with Anya Jabbar, who is the professor of history at the University of Montana, and she gave a talk about how the women's rights suffrage movement in the past and how it affects the future. Just kind of like a brief history of what's going on. And this was shot on the 17th of January, and it airs on 7 p.m. So what we have next.
And we saw the Occupy movement driven by white, middle class, college educated, day class A intellectuals. And they were people who had young people who had gotten out into the system and realized there was no place for them in the system.
And this was Chris Hedges, and his lecture was called "The Death of the Liberal Class and the Crisis of the American Political System." So basically, this guy talks about, he's a social critic, he's a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, and the author of "War is a Force That Gives Us Meaning." And I look down here and I read this the whole time. He was an embedded journalist, and he saw a lot of interesting, very traumatic stuff throughout his years.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a big deal.
Yep. And his lecture will actually be on Saturday, February 30th at 5 p.m. So this Saturday at 5 p.m., watch him on MCAT as he gives his whole lecture about how liberals are dying. All right, I guess I've run a little long. I don't know if I ran long because we talked a lot about
I think he's a strong critic of capitalism. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Scott.
I think I'm going to stop here because the rest I just have to say is that all the shoots we're going to be doing this week, but I'll save that for next time. But for right now, I'll let Noelle do her thing.
Yeah, there's a bunch of really fun music coming into Missoula. Tonight at the Top Hat, there's Green Sky Bluegrass, which is a 5-piece string band from Michigan. And they recently came out with an album titled Handguns, and this is their song Leap Year.
All right, so what do you got to say about this?
It just sounds like it's going to be a really fun show. I've never seen them before, but I love bluegrass, and they come all the time.
Great. Where are they going to be playing?
At the Top Hat.
They're going to play playing at the Top Hat?
Yep, $22 for the show.
$22, wow.
Yeah, I know, it's a lot.
Yeah, but if you pay that much, you're usually guaranteed a good show.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. And they've won a couple awards. They won the Telluride Festival Award in 2006. So that's cool.
That sounds great.
And then also, tomorrow is Merle Haggard at the George and Jane Dennison Theater. The show is at 8 p.m., and balconies tickets are $49.50, and the floor is $64.50. And so this is his song. He's he's a country star from the 60s. Song on the track.
First thing I remember knowing was a lonesome whistle blowing, and a young's dream of growing up to ride on a freight train leaving town, not knowing where I'm bound. No one could change my mind, but Mama tried. The one and only rebel child from the family meek and mild.
Merle Haggard has been around for a long time, so I can imagine that show is going to be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then finally on tomorrow night there is the Cold Hard Cash show. Yeah,
I know who they are.
They're the Johnny Cash tribute band, and they are really, really good. Really good. He sounds just like Johnny Cash. And so they are playing at the Sunrise Saloon tomorrow at 9:30 and 21 plus, and there's no cover.
Brings back memories, doesn't it, Josh?
Fun.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Which DDR2?
Yep, there he is.
Yep, there they are. Get ready.
Yep, they were also on David Letterman. There's David Letterman actually lives around here. They played in a place near Lincoln.
We're going to take on the guitar. It's funny. First concert ever saw with Johnny Cash. First concert my mom and dad ever went to with Johnny Cash. It's funny how that works. This music was around the house all my life, and about 4 or 5 years ago,
Long intro.
Phil and I got to get lucky and go to New York City. We sang this song on the David Letterman show.
Yep.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're really fun.
Sunrise Saloon, that's a pretty popular bar, for sure.
Oh yeah, the Sunrise is fun. It's a good cowboy bar to...
Scott and I did a report at Sunrise Saloon.
Yeah, maybe we can show it later in the show. We can show a piece of it later in the show where Josh actually goes there, and it's kind of how he got his job at K-Pax too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of.
Him, myself, Sam Tolman, we all kind of got this together. All right, I think that's enough.
Yeah.
I mean, not enough for our show. There's never enough.
But go see this music. It's gonna be really good, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I wish I could. Yeah.
Sounds great.
It's gonna be a good time.
We can totally go to Josh. Do you have anything you want to say? Oh, first of all, I would like to show this picture at least before we go. I'll put this in full screen before you. Let's see, full screen. Because I put this picture, I took this picture this morning of the crescent moon over the mountains.
Oh, beautiful.
It was bitter cold.
Oh,
and speaking of cold, maybe Josh can attest to what's going on. Josh?
Yeah, let me just shuffle on over to the other side of the booth.
So my ears might be a little sweaty, so I'll keep my...
Gross.
Yeah, I know. At least I don't have dandruff. But anyways... it should be our other window. Should be, yeah. There we go.
All right. Well, here's our 7-day forecast. Let's bring that on up. Currently, it's 8 degrees Fahrenheit outside. That's pretty cold.
Oh yeah.
I'm freezing.
I don't know about you guys, but it's been snowing a lot here in Missoula, and I mean, yeah, it's probably good for the snowpack, which is going to be good for us later on in the year, you know, as it gets hot. But all this snow, man, it is incredibly... How do you keep saying when it just keeps snowing and snowing?
I know. I mean, I honestly think that it did stop snowing last night. I think it's been snowing the last couple of days. It's not as bad as they said it was going to be. They said it was going to be 12 to 18 inches, and I'm sure it was that way in like and the Bitterroots.
Yeah,
and,
I bet it was too.
Up in the mountains. But
that'd be too much here. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
we'd all have to cross-country ski everywhere.
One more thing I gotta say before.
Go ahead.
As I love interrupting Josh, Minnie. It's been snowing the last couple of days, and I think last night it just kind of everything just froze. Like all the snow just kind of froze in place in this like kind of look.
Yeah.
So
it's incredibly tough on pedestrian, like people who commute to work either on foot or by bicycle. I know it's been incredibly tough for those people out there, because some people, they don't have another option besides riding their bike to work, and man,
I know.
that snowpack in the middle of the road makes it hard for bicyclists to get around because, you know, cars are traveling in the bicycle lane, so.
Yeah, not to mention like people riding the bus, which is also the greatest segue ever to your next topic.
Yeah, that was a great segue. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about city council now.
Woo.
Yeah, city council. Right. Here we go. Let's check out this clip where city council is talking about how they're supporting getting electronic buses. So let's check that out.
Oh, that's interesting.
Maybe we could, hear back from you at that point.
Sure.
Good.
Just give it a second.
Anything else?
They're about to start.
Yeah, the city council meeting happens every Monday of the month, except for the fifth Monday.
Grant application.
And holidays. And they're always on at 7 p.m.
So, as part of your packet, Michael Tree and I just put together a brief. He really put together this brief outline of what the grant request is related to, and he's here and probably would be best to speak to it if you have any questions. But essentially, MUTD and ASUM are partnering to submit a grant application for hybrid buses. There is no financial request from the MPO, just looking for support, essentially.
Any question? Michael, do you have something to present here? I'm just here to answer questions if we have any. Anybody have any questions? Yes.
Oh, I don't necessarily have any questions, but I just wanted to vocalize my support. I'm obviously a representative of MUTD, but
so yeah, basically they just talk about
obvious
supporting electric buses.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's hybrid. That's like seems to be the hot word nowadays. Is that Instead of going full electric, people have been kind of like wary of electric buses, and I think that it's a great transition to the electric car or electric vehicle of the future is by doing hybrid. So so people can understand that when they're getting their gas and it's like, I have to use less gas for my hybrid car.
Yeah.
So then they start to realize how much money they can save. But then again, the only place I've actually seen electric stations where you can actually plug in and charge your lithium battery is like at a Target in Seattle, Washington.
Oh, really? How long does it take to charge?
I'm not sure.
Huh.
Not only is it, economical for people, it's good for the environment.
Oh,
I mean, that's one thing that Missoula is considering it for. Like, that's one of the pros is that we're going to cut down on diesel exhaustion the more hybrid buses we
And I
get
can
out
definitely
there.
say that
That'd be cool.
like Missoula would probably be one of the first ones to do it in the state for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
we don't want to be like China.
So city council was on Monday, and the hottest topic was they're talking about putting in new turf in all the public parks, and they're going if they go along with the measure that they're trying to pass. There's going to be use of herbicides, pesticides on the turf, and here is a gentleman talking about how he is against that idea.
Yes, thank you. My name is Daniel Gary. I've lived in Ward 1 for 26 years. I comment tonight on the proposed turf management plan presented to you and coming up for a vote soon. I ask you to return this management plan immediately to committee.
Mr. Geary, we're actually taking comment on turf management later during the public hearing. So this is for non-agenda items, this period of public comment?
Watch this.
So I cannot speak.
He gets to speak anyways. Just
unless you have something else not on the agenda.
And I can't speak to pesticides. Is that correct? Can I speak to pesticides in general?
Not if you're going to repeat yourself during the public hearing, which I suspect
I won't be able to stay here for the public hearing. I'm due back at work.
Okay. Then you can briefly speak about pesticides in general.
Okay, I'll take 3 minutes to speak about pesticides. Things you don't know about pesticides, perhaps.
Good for him.
You may have been told that they're safe. All pesticide formulations are actually toxic soup. This is a document from a scientific journal. A mixture of the active ingredient, the registered pesticide, which is glyphosate in this case, with a variety of other chemicals such as solvents, surfactants like POEA, and emulsifiers, the inerts. Federal law classifies inerts as trade secrets, and pesticide manufacturers like Glystar used in Missoula are not required to list inert ingredients on the pesticide label.
So basically,
inerts, which can make up as much as 99% of a pesticide formulation, are often highly toxic chemicals that can be...
Okay, so yeah, he's talking about how pesticides are dangerous, and they're especially dangerous to children because their bodies are small and it's harder for children to process all those chemicals. And then later on in the meeting they had the public comment for the turf management, and I'll play a little bit of that too because there's some more interesting stuff that people had to say about the turf management plan. So I'm going to go ahead and play that.
Play. Okay, I'm Jenny Miner-Sagan. I have worked with Parks and Rec on parks as a landscape architect. That is my profession. I am here just to say I really support getting formal documents in place that cover the breadth and depth of both the science and the practicality, the social aspects of managing our parklands and the turf areas. We've often had to make really tough choices when we've implemented new parks in order to meet budgets, which sometimes skimped on the very things that we need to build healthy turf in terms of amendments or sophisticated irrigation systems. And you need all of the components working in concert. So I'm just here to speak in support. Monitoring, testing are all critical components of this. They all take a little bit of time and a little bit of funding, but you don't just start grabbing medicine.
So is she for pesticides?
She's for the turf management plan because, well, I don't know. It's really complicated. Basically, there's like two kinds of grass that people use. There's like there's like athletic fields that people use a lot, and that's where they have to use a lot of herbicides because the fields are so often used. And then there's common places where they try not to spray a lot, but some people want to try to make Missoula an herbicide-free city, while other people, the people who are trying to pass this turf management plan, say that herbicide is needed. And then they said that they were going to, if they do use herbicide, they'll use it judiciously. It'll be kind of like the last course of action if needed. So it's a tricky subject. I can see how people are worried about the use of herbicide, especially since, you know, these fields and these parks are being used by children so much. But you know, there's that side of the argument, and then there's also like these scientists who want to use the herbicide because it's the most cost-effective way to maintain the parks, and they think that they're using safe amounts. And so at any rate, it was the hot topic at the city council meeting.
Yeah, sounds like it. And I would think that you would put the children first and make sure they're as safe as possible.
But then you got to understand that there's always if you think about the other side, it's like you want to have your grass pesticide free, all those little pests and all that stuff. The knapweeds, kids running around in the grass, they step on a thistle.
Oh yeah. I don't know anything about it.
There's, I mean, because you know the university's done all that types of stuff during the summer where they plant the flags and say, "Do not step on grass." Yeah. But I think pesticides are poisonous regardless because they're supposed to kill all the noxious weeds and all this other stuff as well. But if there's other alternatives for it, right, Josh? Isn't there like herbal pesticides that are good?
I don't know. They didn't talk about herbal pesticides during the meeting. They just talked about use. Like some areas are common use. Some areas are like they're definitely going to keep herbicides out of certain areas like playgrounds, like places where people picnic, volleyball courts, and also something called splash decks. I don't know what splash decks are, but they're not going to spray herbicides there. But
oh, good. Yeah,
but they're mainly spraying them. I think from what I got from here listening to the meeting was that they're spraying them on the athletic fields, which you know that they need to keep those fields in like pristine condition, and they need to be irrigated properly all the time. Yeah. But again, you've got kids playing soccer and baseball on these fields, and I don't know.
I don't know either. That's definitely a tough situation.
Yeah. So what do you think, Noelle? Do you have anything else you want to tell us about what's going on in Missoula?
Well, I found a really fun video of Missoula in a weekend, and you know everyone loves a Missoula weekend, and so yeah, it's made by the Montana Kaimin, which is the school newspaper at the university.
Okay. segment of it.
It's pretty cool. I think they did a really good job with it. Oh, bike riders.
Yep.
Those are the best.
Mm-hmm. Well, so we have about a couple minutes left in our show, and I would like to show Out to Lunch in 1991.
Nice. Nice.
From the vault.
From 10 to 5. Okay? I believe we're almost done with our announcements. Now, one more announcement. Around the middle of the show today, we'll be going until 1:30.
And then again, there's young Gary Gillette. And well, prior to 1996, there was no island in the middle of the Clark Fork River, which all you see here was completely underwater. And of course, you see the pavilion, that's not there anymore, that's some of the old pavilion. They would do the whole entire thing under that single pavilion. And of course, as I was saying, during the rebuilding of the bridge, the island was removed and the north channel of the river was filled in, resulting in the present-day Caras Park. You know, since then, there's been the carousel, you know, Dragon's Hollow. They built all these brand new, neat, cool things. I was probably about 3. No, I was going on 3 this year. So I was just a spring chicken. And that's my phrase of the day, it's a spring chicken. Hashtag spring chicken.
I'll make sure I use that.
Okay. And then there's the river. You see how the river was? I think this was the river pre-Benson's Wave.
Yeah, when did they make that?
I'm not sure exactly when they made it. It could have been made in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah.
I didn't do the research on that part, but I think that's very interesting. You can see the river, see more of what's going on with there. Is that all I have to say about this? Because I do want to show, kind of zoom in, there we go. Kind of show that, because you see how the water's just like constantly moving. And the river's so high, look how high it was. But this was June 5th.
Okay, so
1991. 13 years ago. And we have plenty more videos like this coming up some other time, right?
From the vault.
From the vault.
All right. That was pretty interesting. It was interesting to see how different Missoula is from back in the early 90s. It seems like a totally different vibe from the kind of festivities that go on in Caras Park today.
Yeah, it's cool. Good old 90s.
Yeah, and like, yeah, we're pretty much gonna be wrapping up pretty soon here. Anything else anyone would like to say and talk about for the rest of the show?
No, not really. Just have a good day, you guys. We'll see you Friday.
Well, we should talk about our website.
Stay warm.
Oh, our website, yeah.
We have to talk about...
We have a website.
Yeah, we have a website. It's called Wake Up Missoula, and if it's on Facebook,
page, so
if you could.
That's
not it.
Hold on.
It's on camera 4.
There we go.
So you see our Facebook page, nice little cover photo. We have 66 likes. Make sure to like us on Facebook and be sure to get involved with it. Send us your pictures and I'll edit them and be the picture of the week.
Nice.
Yeah,
we'd like to have some kind of contest coming up on our Facebook page just to have some sort of interaction with our viewers.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That sounds good to me. I'll
All right.
spread the word.
Yep, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thank